Was the what was the one after? Let me get this image up. Sorry, guys. Should have been prepared. It was hilarious. Oh yeah, bioengineered coronavirus that responds to 5G was released during the Chinese New Year by Foundation Eco-Terrorists.
Yeah, it was a fake top secret document, and the best part was the redacted names.
Yeah.
Like, where they redacted Fauci as if you weren't gonna get the reference when it said Doctor Blank. At first advised everyone to not wear masks, and now is telling them to wear masks. So clearly, he is part of the cabal.
Yeah. Yeah. They got it straight. And we, in other news too, we finally got our first QAnon senator, an actual senator who's part of Q. Crazy news there. They just got it voted in. I honestly don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry.
Can't think of the name.
I can't recall it. I listen to Thomson Routers each morning, so it was somewhere in that. But yeah, the YouTube was actually a little slow. Again, we're just figuring out Streamlabs, so welcome if you're on the YouTube live stream. We're gonna cover a lot of shit today. The Duncan Trussell stuff. He covered well on how stupid QAnon is. Well, just with that fluff piece, or maybe it was someone from Q. Mr. President, according to my research, this weapon is designed to infect individualists and patriots. The engineers that created this virus knew that people with high IQ would be the ones to refuse to wear masks, and thus would be likely to be infected. Once infected, their DNA will be altered, making them more susceptible to 5G mind control waves. At that point, they will be under control of rogue deep state operatives. The fact that Dr. and then it's blacked out, Fauci, advised Americans, yeah, exactly what you said. So it's so funny. The only hope is that you convince the patriots of America to wear a mask. Operation Infection 2. Mega level green. I like the top secret fake stamp on it too. It's just he gets Q so well. Like that's the quality of Q.
I thought that was a legit post from them.
It probably was. He was probably just reposting it and laughing. But yeah, the QAnon follower is wins the Senate in Oregon. So that's where he's at. Perkins is the former Republican chairwoman. Let's look into this. I'm just gonna go quick in this Yahoo News. It's not in our show notes, and it won't be. This is just extra for you guys. Yeah, where we go one, we go all. Say candidate Joe Ray Perkins. Damn, these Republicans. These Republicans and their friggin' Q. They're going deep.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with conspiracy theorying, but if you think you're Q, you're a little. I don't know what to say there. Yeah.
You're a little Eddie Bravo.
Exactly. There's a lot of truths. I can give you guys that, but there's a lot of BS too. So just drink upstream, take everything with a grain of salt, as you should with any media, not just.
Hughes just gets you because they write everything in riddles.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Oh, so much fun. It's hilarious. But yeah, a lot of the comedians that were already having fun with it to begin with, but I think Duncan Trussell may have been hacked.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, it seemed legitimately Q-like, right? Very Q-ish.
Yeah.
Very Q-ish. But yeah,
We'll see though. He said he hired professional people to hunt them down.
Yeah.
Figure out who hacked them. So.
Yeah, they'll get the IPs.
Yeah.
But yeah, also on the Joe Rogan's pod today, there was Joey Diaz and Brian Redband. A lot of you folks probably still listening to the pod at the moment. If you're catching the live stream right after listening to that pod like me, pretty talented. Joey's retiring from comedy, hanging up the gloves. Seems like he's going to come back eventually, just taking a semi-retirement here to go back to Jersey with the whole COVID situation.
Just waiting out the pandemic.
Yeah. Redband also.
Got money for days. He's probably fine.
Oh yeah, Redband also. He just wants to do a podcast in a basement somewhere. So.
That's because Redband fucking sucks.
he's the OG podcaster, so can't hate too hard. But he was the quiet one of the three, making about as much noise as Jamie during the podcast.
Yeah, a little bit too much noise.
Yeah, Joey kept picking on him, like, "What are you doing holding my hand? What? Why are you looking at me funny?" Like
Is that
shit like
right?
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta
But
see that. I haven't had a chance.
just saying he was glad to see him too. But yeah, I didn't see the Rob Lowe one last week. I got to catch up on that one. But the one before that, the Innocence Project, it's some wild ass shit. It's like have you seen the Netflix show Making a Murderer?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I know
Okay.
of it.
So yeah, it's like that except the guy actually didn't do it and someone else said they were guilty multiple times, and this podcast does that like every single week. So like these two guys are like some lawyer and some executive with money, and they help get people exonerated for crimes they didn't commit and got coerced into pleading guilty or what have you.
Nice. That sounds
However, the justice system fucked them in the anus with some
Yeah.
fake science or hilarious shit like that, which isn't funny at all. It's actually very sad, and like Joe Rogan cried and I cried, and uh, I forget what the other oh, we had Deborah So on, and that was another gender science podcast. And I've been like and I feel bad now. I've been rallying against Joe, saying he's a turf, saying this other shit, but he kind of said like I just want to get to the bottom of it, and I want to have transgender people on my podcast. I want to have these other guests on my podcast. Like if anybody wants to come on and talk about it, I'm open to it. I'm open to the discourse. I want to talk about it. So that was really cool to see and hear, because I had kind of been like asking that myself. Like I'm a Joe Rogan faithful, or at least I have been consistently keeping up with it. But what were you saying, brother?
Well, it's just probably people haven't been comfortable to reach out to him then, obviously, because if he's feeling that way, if he says that, then he probably would have had any transgender person on if they'd asked, or he probably just, I don't know. He probably just doesn't even know who to ask, you know? He probably doesn't even know who RuPaul is.
That's true. Doesn't even know where to begin, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's before let's begin with the news. We're breaking down midweek, at least before we get into our psychedelic news. That's the new plan of the podcast. We're gonna try to bring you psychedelic news and just like breaking emergency stuff that to look out for that maybe other news places have covered but haven't gone in depth for you. So you might want to learn more. But we really want to touch on psychedelic news as much as possible without going too deep on any company type of stuff. So we're going to touch on the Beirut explosion, just because that's some big news that went by last week. We know for all you intelligence conspiracy heads, this is a big one, and we're going to get back into some more historic intelligence psychedelic experiments in the future, maybe some Charles Manson stuff, but we're definitely going to be bringing the psychedelic drugs to you more, a lot more rap drugs, and less intelligence and off on tangents from falling into those conspiracy rabbit holes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Todd, before we even get into the first article, before I show some people the madness, madder than this even, the explosions and everything, why don't you give them the quick like who, what, why, where, when from your synopsis, your summary for those people that don't have time to listen to the rest of the pod. Yeah.
The rundown of what's going on.
The rundown, and then we'll go over it, and then maybe we'll get some speculation. So don't speculate too hard just yet if you can. I know it might be hard not to.
A quick one.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
From what I understand, some strange Russian ship, or not Russian ship, a ship.
It was technically from some sort of Russian origin.
Yeah.
Or Georgian and Ukrainian is more the sounds of it, but yeah.
It was owned by a Russian businessman. That's what makes it Russian.
Yeah, yeah.
It
has Russian ties.
It had Moldovan flags, and it was getting stuff from Georgia. It was very, who knows what was going on. That's all the Russian spear if you don't know. But anyways.
That's classic tactics. Like for shipping, not just for intelligence tactics, for shipping period. Like It's all convoluted, so they don't have to pay taxes anywhere. So it's
Yeah,
nothing. It's nothing
100%.
suspicious at this
Not
point.
even just taxes, pay anything.
That's
That's what ends
true.
up happening.
That's true.
How many
These
taxes
guys.
happen with this crew?
Yeah, yeah. If you when you get into the one of the articles I looked over, they don't pay any bills or some shit like that.
Yeah,
But
and I
yeah,
think the guy still collected.
still collecting on it like
He
cargo.
got paid beforehand for the cargo,
Nice, getting paid up front. Yeah,
so he'd
smart,
have to get sued.
smart. Don't.
Like this guy's straight up is Donald Trump. Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's why Donald Trump respects Russians. Like
yeah,
he
because they got
uses
the
their
same business
tactics. Yeah,
style.
exactly.
So,
No holds
anyways,
bars.
this this guy tries to ship a cargo of ammonium nitrate, I think is what it's called, and
Yes.
which is used for explosives mainly in mining and fertilizer. Pretty common.
Yep.
There's actually a large cache nearby where I live. That if it ever went off, it'd probably take me and my house out, I guess. But it's
Wow.
safely secured. It's not kept in a warehouse.
Todd, don't be so morbid.
Oh,
It's
I'm not
safe
being
if it.
morbid.
What do you mean? Wasn't it in a warehouse? This stuff too?
Yeah, like a wood one.
Yeah.
That one's like a concrete, fireproof. Like a
Yeah,
not
it's a real.
not
It's
as
it's a
much.
proper facility where
Yeah,
nobody like people would be prudent and not negligent like the Lebanon government was,
yeah,
or so
yeah,
the
100%.
or so is the thought at this point.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways,
Yep.
because this guy not paying shipping fees everywhere, he owed the Lebanese some money, so they were like, your ship can't leave until you pay us, and he didn't. And this ammonium nitrate ended up staying in Lebanon for about 7 years until eventually a fire started, maybe from maintenance going on nearby, but they don't really know. Fire started, blew up 2,700 tons of ammonium nitrate,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
took out the whole of Beirut, and it seemed to have collapsed their government in about a week.
Yeah. Very quickly.
Yeah, it was incredible actually. It was the most insane thing I've ever seen. But it's not really surprising. Like if you know Lebanon, it's not like the most stable country.
Yeah.
The sad thing is like instead of like a normal, instead of like a corrupt government pulling out and then things getting better, what ends up happening probably is a whole new civil war is going to happen. But who knows? With the pandemic, things are things are strange. So hopefully things work out there in Lebanon. I mean, hopefully they get some new good politicians. It seems like France is taking a big role in what's going on there.
Yeah. Definitely. It's
And
Macron's all over the place, getting bombarded, going through the crowds, pulling his mask off to breathe in
yeah,
that COVID air,
yeah,
showing how why France was hit so hard.
yeah, yeah. And the reason for that, if you guys don't know, this is like a part of neo-colonialism. Lebanon and Syria were both parts of France, and France is still trying to hold on to what ties it has in Lebanon, since
Nice.
I think their second language or something like that is French. It's a
Yeah.
really common one because it used to be a colony.
Deep
Anyways,
ties.
yeah. So Macron shows up, actually goes and talks to the people in the rebel, and no one in the government showed up. So the people were ridiculing them. They probably would have been killed, honestly, if they went out there. Apparently, but even before this, they'd already traveled through town, like just like they had a bulletproof limousine, and they'd like drive really fast. That's what people said. They'd
Yeah,
go speeding through town
that's
with the
sick.
Secret Service. Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
you
do
see
that
that in
kind
the
of cool
movie too.
shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Except in like rich neighborhoods, not like poverty-ridden.
Yeah, not on like the 401, like through they did it through city streets where kids were playing and like cool stuff like that. Dirt
Yeah,
roads.
yeah, yeah.
Feeling all
Exactly.
boss like the cartel, right?
Yeah, yeah. So now, yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know.
They're, it's
The
still a shakedown and they're figuring stuff out or should we get into the articles to get deeper onto that stuff, or what do you think?
Yeah, we could do either or. I don't know. I can
All
talk
right.
more about. Yeah, let's just start getting into the articles, I guess.
Yeah,
The
before I make you speculate too hard, but what are you saying? Sorry.
I don't know. Just I lost my train of thought too hard.
My bad. My bad. Plenty of tokes. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. We need you to subscribe to the YouTube so we can start blazing together on the live stream. Might even get a Twitch going for some gaming, but pretty busy working the butt off. Got to support the pod with the full time jobs. So if you want to support the pod too, you don't even need to send us money at the PayPal below. You don't need to buy us merch. You can just subscribe. We're trying to get to the 1K mark so we can bust out the bongs and maybe get some YouTube ads, but probably not because we talk about some crazy shit. So we'll probably only have like Manscaped and cool shit like that that you might even care
Yeah.
about, but you can click through it quickly. None of those ads that force you.
Gotta get those sponsors going.
Yeah, no, we're not really looking for any sponsors unless they're willing to take the pod as it is. So far, we've had to turn down all of our ad offers because they want to change us, and we're not sellouts.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. Unless something cool wants to sponsor us, and then we don't have to. But we also got over 3,500 followers on IG now. So show us some love. Follow on IG if you're not there. Add to the stream. Share the IG with your friends. We're growing like wildfire there. Catch the part 1 and the part 2 on the IGTV a couple days late. I just posted to hit us on the live stream, so a little late on that post, but share that post in your own story. I'm sharing it in my story right now too. And we'll throw a link in bio splash on there. And yeah, take a toke while we're finishing this up.
Right on.
Midstream tokes. I'd
Yeah.
love to get them in, but take a few extra before the pod, so don't even have to. All right, so that's live now too, mother suckers. So I'll get the first story up for us. It's some pretty crazy stuff here. What
Yeah.
footage of the Beirut explosion tells us about the blast? The video offers clues into the blast cause and the strength of its destructive power. So this one's published August 5th, updated August 7th with the NY Times. So I know a lot of people don't like the Times anymore, but it's not all bad journalism. So uh, hopefully the explosions there on the middle isn't making anyone too nauseous. Todd specifically. The massive explosion in Beirut's port on Tuesday shattered windows more than a mile and sent a plume of smoke and debris soaring above the city's tallest buildings. It was so intense that the blast was felt at least 150 miles away in Cyprus. It killed at least 135 people, injured at least 5,000, left dozens missing, some 300,000 people displaced from homes. Times reviewed more than 70 videos of the incident and satellite image of its aftermath to better understand what happened. Here's what the available visual evidence tells us about the blast and devastation it left behind. So, Times is typically good journalism. At least I respect the quality of the journalism that comes out of there. That isn't opinion pieces. So, I think it's a good start for the facts that we're going to learn because let's be honest, this could be intelligence. It could be a sign of war or suspected war if it was arson from outside influences. So we're
Yeah.
not going to
I
hear
mean, like
anything from governments for a while. But
that
what
was
were you
my
saying?
immediate thought.
Yeah.
Because like there were multiple threats for Lebanon. If you know about Lebanon's history, like they're squished in between Syria and Israel, and they're have a split government that's specifically designed to represent Sunnis, Shiites, and Christians equally. Makes things really confusing, and also difficult to work with. But
Yeah.
it's a really corrupted system where Iran and Syria has even invaded a few times, but they have strong ties there. Hezbollah is in the south, which is a terrorist group funded by Iran that has gone to war with Israel a few times.
Wow.
And then you also have the Saudi Arabian government, like 4 years ago, possibly kidnapped the prime minister of the country. He went missing for like a week or two, like no one knew where he was. and then he showed up in Saudi Arabia and announced that he's resigning because he's fearing for his life, which was almost reasonable because like his dad did get like assassinated not even 5 years ago. Like it's all this whole thing, and then France kind of came in and was like, all right, Iran, Saudi Arabia, both of you stay out of Lebanon.
Wow.
Things have been kind of quiet since, but yeah, this is like it's like a really unstable situation already. Like when COVID hit, apparently they said that they were afraid. They weren't afraid of people dying in the streets. They're afraid of them dying in the hospitals because like we can't even take care of them there. They were like, we don't have the supplies or the money at all. Like they were already in a horrible situation.
Wow. And this just makes it worse. So yeah,
Yeah.
the government was bad enough, but to get back to the article specifically, uh, some deep facts there for all you heads that are out there trying to look for it. A raging fire that spread. The explosion that ripped through large parts of Beirut was preceded by a raging fire in a port warehouse. A correspondent for the Los Angeles Times first reported the fire around 5:54 p.m. local time, posting an image of the smoke on Twitter, noting the sound of an explosion. For the next 14 minutes, the fire blazed as emergency workers responded. Video film from a high-rise captured what happened next. Emergency vehicles with flashing lights can be seen spawning. Other videos posted on social media showed firefighters in action at the warehouse at roughly the same time. Then the blaze appears to rapidly accelerate, followed by a large explosion. 35 seconds later, at around 6:08 local time, a final massive blast envelops the area. So it's a fire with a small blast, another small blast, and then a major blast. According to the Lebanese government, the source of the explosion was 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate, as Todd said, used in fertilizer, sometimes bombs, stored in a port warehouse after being confiscated from a Russian-owned ship in 2014. Following years, court records, blah, 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 was a lot of back and forth for the ship. We'll get into that in another article that goes pretty deep on it. So for the damage specifically, satellite images taken one day later show the scale of the explosion and confirms its exact location, a warehouse next to the Beirut port grain silos. So let me see if I can get that going here for you guys. This is going to show us exactly what the you better watch the live stream or the YouTube video for if you want to see this. But I'll just tell you what's going on here. So the explosion crater was 140 meters, basically just blew the entire building underwater. Or so the warehouse that stored it.
Oblivion. It just doesn't exist anymore. It's not even underwater.
Yeah, and right next to it there was some destroyed grain silos as well. We can get into the grain silos a little bit later, because there's another article specifically on that. It also capsized a passenger ship, and just obviously sent a destructive pressure wave. So, we don't know we don't know how the ammonium nitrate was stored in the warehouse, which would affect its explosive power. The chemical can be as much as 40% as powerful as TNT. The detonation of 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate would make the Beirut event one of the most powerful accidental industrial explosions on record, and could produce enough overpressure to shatter glass 1.25 miles away. Like Todd stated, they're overwhelmed hospitals. At least 5 hospitals were located within a mile and a quarter of the explosion, and around a dozen more were close enough to feel its effects. Images show shattered glass and destruction inside rooms at the American University in Beirut Hospital. At BMG Bekazi Medical Group, about the same distance from blast, doctors said the ceiling had fallen on some patients. Inside the port itself, the blast ruined the country's main grain silos, spilling 15,000 tons of their contents onto the ground, according to the economy minister. Lebanon now is less than a month of grain reserves, but expecting enough imports to avoid a crisis. In 2015, 800 tons of ammonium nitrate ignited in one of China's busiest seaports in Tianjin, causing a blast that killed 173 people, injured nearly 800. So a lot more deaths in that Chinese blast. Who knows, though? There could be some more resulting deaths that come out of this. Again, this was only updated August 7th.
Yeah, and there's
But
still like a lot of missing people.
and there's 5,000 injured. So that's some pretty crazy stuff there. The New York Times also had another article, so we'll just cover the time stuff quickly here. Uh, like Todd discussed as well, French President Macron visits Beirut. Lebanese ask where the leaders are. So maybe this was a coup to overthrow Lebanon and possibly get French control back over it.
I mean, that is very possible.
It uh,
The French are crafty.
yeah, it would be a good if they need the tax revenue and they don't plan on helping Lebanon out, then maybe it was a plan. But more likely,
But
the condition Lebanon is in, it's a hot potato that they didn't want to end up
I,
dealing
I,
with.
I feel like more likely than it being some sort of plan is it's more like an opportunist type deal.
Yeah,
Right? They've been waiting to step in, or they probably just wanted they probably controlled the government there already and just wanted them to step up. But
true.
Macron had to go there himself, and he's like the Don walking in. Like the Don doesn't usually come in and deal with mafia stuff himself. But when
Yeah,
he does, shit's real. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's Macron right now. He's coming in, he's slapping heads. That's why everyone resigned in like a week.
Yeah. Well, here's exactly what the article says. Even like less than 48 hours after the blast that shook Lebanon's capital, killed at least 145 people. So already the count went up by August 11th and left entire neighborhoods virtually uninhabitable. President Emmanuel the Don Macron of France on Thursday did what no senior Lebanese politician has. He came to see the suffering firsthand. He was giving out turkeys in the street, like Todd said. Some real, what's that, American gangsta type shit. So the distinction was not lost on the Lebanese as they clean the rubble from their streets and homes, bury their dead, and ponder where the billions needed to fix their capital will come. They have seen few signs that their political leaders will help in their time of need. I don't want France to send money to these corrupt people, said Khalil Honan, sitting outside his damaged auto parts store near where Mr. Macron had walked. Let him take all these politicians with him or let him be our president. Uh, I think he doesn't realize the French hate Macron because he's also potentially corrupt, just like any politician. But
Yeah.
good point. The less middleman there are, the more money there is to go around. So maybe you just want the one guy. Kind of like what Doug Ford tried with Toronto and it backfired. It cost a lot more money. But yeah, what are you saying, Ross?
Yeah. I was like gonna say the big difference between Macron's corruption and like Lebanese corruption is like the people that die, it's subtle,
Yeah.
It's not a accidental explosion, It's like people slowly dying of like poison water or something,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely, I know that. Dying of starvation because they don't have any grain. Oh yeah, exactly. Flint, Michigan,
Yeah,
you know.
I don't know enough about the French to call out what's going on there, but I know
Yeah.
those people in yellow vests are out there for no reason.
Yeah. Basically, the Yellow Vest protest is kind of like an Occupy thing, and that never went away. So some they really have an issue with the minimum wages and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't know. They're protesting. There must be something to be upset about. They're not all
Yeah.
wrong. They're probably correct, to be honest. So yeah, just to get back to the Macron love, though. On Thursday alone, Cyprus, the neighboring island nation where many felt the blast, sent doctors. Denmark sent cash. Italy, Jordan, and China sent medics and medical equipment. The United Nations announced that it was releasing 9 million to aid Beirut's hospitals, 3 of which were blown out of commission by the explosion. It was unclear how much those contributions would address the tremendous needs left by the explosion, which registered as a minor earthquake in neighboring cities, displaced more than 250,000 people from their homes. Other articles said 300,000. Maybe I was giving the New York Times too much credit before I started reading their articles. And this one came out after. So, which one is it? Beirut's governor estimated the damage at 3 billion. That's pretty cheap compared to how much it cost to build subways in Toronto. So
Yeah.
what's going on in Canada? But in many of the hardest hit areas, foreign crews joined armies of Lebanese volunteers, distribute food, and help people clear the glass rubble from their homes and streets. It's an individual initiative, said Joel Debs, a member of a volunteer group that was distributing sandwiches and wielding shovels and brooms. We're not expecting much from the government of the municipality. At times, the cleanup crews would erupt with anger at the government they blamed for destroying the neighborhood, chanting, "Revolution, revolution," or shouting profanities at President Michel Aoun. Now, the funny thing about Beirut is there's like a president and a prime minister, where the president's kind of like a secretary of state. And Hassan Diab, the prime minister, is kind of like, I don't know, it's just weird. But yeah, anyways. Lots of fights breaking out with the Red Cross. We'll never have a country, one said. We already don't have a country, another answered. So you know how it's going there. Prime Minister Hassan Diab has vowed to hold accountable anyone found responsible for the blast after an investigation, but the government has released few details on its findings so far. On Thursday, the central bank said it had frozen the accounts of the heads of the Beirut port and the Lebanese and custom authorities and 5 others, presumably in connection with the investigation. But many Lebanese doubt the real accountability will be achieved in a country where top politicians enrich through corruption live in guarded enclaves and are usually seen in public only when their armored convoys of black SUVs with tinted windows zoom through traffic. So yeah, none of them live in areas where the blast was affected. And the conspicuous absence of political leaders drew a sharp contrast to Mr. Macron's presence. Wearing a skinny black tie with his sleeves rolled up, Mr. Macron toured the blessed site and waded into the crowd that had gathered in a hard-hit neighborhood to see him. At times pulling down the surgical mask he wore to protect against the coronavirus, he chatted with residents, waved to groups watching from balconies, and gave fist bumps to people filming him with their phones. He should have just like cut a hole in his mask so he could have talked while he wore it. Would have been way more convenient, right?
Yeah.
Didn't I forget who said they saw someone. Maybe it was a Joe Rogan pod even. They saw somebody smoking through their mask with a hole cut in it.
Yeah.
Geniuses out here.
I know. It's like, what's the point in even wearing it if you're just gonna be grabbing it and moving it around?
Yeah, exactly.
You're just putting it on for show, just so you're not Donald Trump, you jackass. And half the pictures is like guys he's with aren't even wearing masks.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was pretty weird. So yeah, before
Like, I already got it.
yeah, exactly. I've got the antibodies. We've got the vaccine here. Supposedly Russia has a vaccine that they're gonna sell us. Maybe, I don't know.
Right?
I don't know.
I don't buy it.
They're the first ones to say they have something that has been tested and works. Yeah, I don't know. I believe in just like getting a little bit sick to get the antibodies.
Yeah, I think we should expose everyone to it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that.
At once. That's the vaccine, Todd. They just a tiny exposure. Yeah.
That's how Sweden did it, eh? I think it was Sweden that just were like, fuck
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
want.
Restaurants,
People died.
yeah. Restaurants are all only allowed to open if they have drink specials. Yeah. No one's allowed to sit alone at a restaurant. They have those kind of policies. Yeah, exactly. If you're more than
share cups.
yeah, exactly. If you come alone, we sit you with other people.
Yeah.
Groups of 2 will be sat with other groups of 2. And all the food will come on one plate.
Yeah.
Yeah, genius. It's the best way to go about it. And a good way to solve the hunger issues because they have no grain in Lebanon now. But before leaving Lebanon, Mr. Macron said he had presented Lebanese leaders with a list of urgent reforms that needed to be carried out to unlock billions of dollars in international funds. He said that France...
Yeah, and they looked at him and instantly were like, I quit my job.
Yeah, exactly. He said that France would organize an international donors conference and ensure transparency to make sure that aid reached the people instead of being siphoned off by the country's power brokers. And they all quit. Lebanon had failed to make progress on the reforms required to release the last batch of promised international funds. Some commentators wonder how much Mr. Macron's stroll in Beirut had been intended for domestic consumption in France. But many Lebanese were charmed by his retail politics, especially compared to what they saw from their own politicians. An online petition made the rounds imploring him to place Lebanon under French mandate for the next 10 years. We'd rather get colonized than die here. That's crazy. And then the article gets morbid and into like funerals for the people that passed away in the blast. R.I.P. R.I.P.
Yeah. Yeah, this should have never happened.
Yeah. But yeah, right away, France 24, like the new Lebanon is, wait, no, sorry, I looked at the wrong article there. Explosion at Port of Beirut damages grain silos, terminal reports. So the wrecked silos not believed to contain a huge quantity of grain, just 15,000 tons.
Yeah.
And silos serve as strategic grains for Lebanon. So a depot at the Port of Beirut, Lebanon caught fire with the explosion. Beside the grain silos, a grain terminal was seen damaging explosion. According to various report, analysts, the port handles 60% of all Lebanon imports. Silos have a total capacity of 120,000 MT of grains. A market analyst at MaxiGrain, the silo consists of 48 big cells with a capacity of 2,500 MT, 50 small cells that can hold 500 MTs. The silo serves as a strategic source for Lebanon, with about 85% of the country's cereals stored in the facility. However, it's believed the silos do not contain huge quantities of grain at the time of the explosion. Slightly suspicious, although it isn't like we're not anywhere near harvest, so not that suspicious. Although I don't know what the harvest season is like in Lebanon.
Yeah. Who has any idea?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Lebanon is in the midst of a financial crisis and has to depend on wheat imports to secure food supplies. But what were you saying? Yeah? What you found?
What I found from reading some of the articles was just, it seemed like people outside of the government were saying they were going to run out of grain probably really soon now. People inside the government were saying that we're fine. There's plenty of grain. We'll be okay.
True. Yeah. It's saying, well, most of the wheat imports are done by private mills. The Lebanese government early this year considered importing wheat for the first time in 6 years, amid growing supply concerns due to the coronavirus pandemic. Most of Lebanon's wheat comes from Russia and Ukraine. So it could even be a power move with them needing the grain. Because we know Russia's, and seem to have done this with gas, natural gas, where they muscle people into paying more. So maybe they had to do this with grain to the Lebanon guys.
Yeah.
Really bend them over the barrel and fuck them. You know Russia's the best at messing with geopolitics, or you don't know, but every other country admits it. And China's the only one getting attacked at the moment. Like, let's be honest, did US win the Cold War or did Russia win it?
I don't know. I think they won like back in the 90s. The tides have turned.
Yeah, they might have won the battle, but did they win the war?
They didn't win. Yeah. That was Cold War. That was Cold Battle 1.
Yeah, once all the billionaires start moving to Russia, like, you think the comedians leaving California because of the taxes is crazy. Wait until those Silicon Valley billionaires start leaving for Russia so they can be closer to China for all the tech hub.
If you ask me, once Vladimir dies,
Supreme ruler Trump is going to take over Russia as well.
No, they'll have another civil war, just like the one the Soviet Union.
Supreme ruler Baron Trump is going to take over.
He's going to be.
He's
going to marry Putin's daughter.
He's going to
amalgamate the kingdoms.
Exactly, and he's going to guillotine Xi Jinping in front of the rest of us. Yeah, it's going to be a sight to see people.
Announcing that there's only one country that is part of the UN Security Council anymore, and that is the Trump country.
Yeah.
The Trump world empire.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They're creating their own United Nations.
Yeah.
United Gations. It's the nations that allow gays to be legal. But yeah, wheat accounts for more than 80% of Lebanon's agricultural imports, followed by corn and barley. Most of the wheat enters through the terminal that took the hit. According to a news report from MTV Lebanon, pretty weird. They got MTV doing their news there.
Yeah.
Lebanese Interior Minister Mohammed Fahmy said the explosion appeared to be caused by stored ammonium nitrate, which is generally used for fertilizers. We already knew this. Multiple casualties. They just casually say multiple casualties. No, nothing. No big D.
Yeah.
No big D, fam. Just multiple casualties.
Well, that's how they put it when it's Muslim people.
Yeah.
When it was like 2 Americans that died on the cruise boat, it was devastating, and there was investigations.
Yeah. And oh God, what's this article now? So I might have skipped an article I can get back to later. This big one from CNN. So this is we're getting deep on the ship. Russian ship's cargo of dangerous ammonium nitrate was stranded in Beirut port for years. So Lebanon's investigation of the devastating blast in Beirut continues. Officials have pointed to a possible cause of massive agriculture fertilizer that authorities say was stored in the port. Once it arrived, the ship never left Beirut's port. Uh, it was a Russian-owned vessel in 2013 named MV Rhosus, destined for Mozambique, but stopped in Beirut due to financial difficulties, and that ended up never leaving. So the cargo was in 2014, long time ago, identified as a floating bomb. Due to the extreme danger, they had to bring the ammonium nitrate into a warehouse. The Lebanese authorities have not named the MV Ross as the source, but Prime Minister Hassan Daab said the devastating blast was caused by 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate. And he added the substance had been stored for 6 years at the port warehouse without safety measures. So it very clear people could put two and two together and know that's exactly what happened. Asked in a telephone interview if there are any early findings in the investigations related to the cause of explosion, Lebanese Information Minister Manel Abdel Samad Najad said there are no preliminary results or clarification. So
Yeah. Well, the weird thing is like no one knows who started the fire though. Like everybody knew that ammonium nitrate's been there for years, but the fire is like kind of the only lead they got is like 2 guys who were possibly welding a door.
yeah,
It's just like were those 2 CIA guys pretending to weld a door?
yeah, exactly, probably. And yeah, there's some other funky stuff going on there too. So we'll get this one up here. So the social media one. So just Beirut explosion. Now conspiracy theories spread on social media. So before we get too deep in the ship, uh, early reports of the explosion began circulating on social media. While most of the videos appeared authentic, filmed by residents from their homes, rumors about the cause of the blast were also quickly shared on platforms such as Twitter and WhatsApp. So what's the misinformation spread? From fireworks to nuclear bombs, the videos circulating showed smaller explosions and an initial fire followed by the huge blast, which led to tweets suggesting it had happened at a fireworks factory. So first another, like, social media loves fireworks this year. Everything to do with fireworks is a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was probably the New York NYPD put all their fireworks there. So,
Well,
but what were you saying? Do you think it's possible it could have been explosions? Yeah.
There could have been fireworks that were in a factory next door. It wasn't that out of a realm of possibility. I don't know why this BBC article made it sound so ridiculous. There was a guy who was asked. They were like, "Could it have been fireworks?" He was like, "Sure, why not?"
Yeah, it was such a crazy explosion. With no, they don't even know what was in the warehouse other than that ammonium nitrate.
like,
Just a bunch of confiscated bombs. There was multiple explosions. Yeah. But yeah, unfounded claims continue to spread, blaming the nuclear bomb on U.S., Israel, or Hezbollah. These were shared by partisan news sites as well as public figures.
That was what I thought was the funniest.
Yeah.
It was like, there was just like a bomb that showed up. Like no one could prove it all like covered up already.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people thought it was a Israeli bomb or missile strike on Hezbollah weapons depot. Nukes. Yeah, they're
Which is so ridiculous if you know anything about Hezbollah.
Yeah. And
Not a fucking
geography.
depot in fucking Beirut.
And geography, like, why would Israel be nuking Lebanon?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
insane. That's
so true.
that's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, like if it was a nuke, fucking, it would be deadly for like way more than a couple miles.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, far right conspiracy theorists, including QAnon supporters, whatever. I don't know what QAnon an idea or is it a person?
I
Like,
mean,
how
it
can you be a
started out as a
QAnon
person.
supporter or are you QAnon? Like, are you it or
I
are you just supporting it? I don't know.
I think it started off as like a person,
Yeah,
and now everybody worships this person. So if you
true.
support Q is a guy, and then QAnon
Or a girl.
is his full name, or yeah, I guess it could be a girl,
Yeah,
but it supposedly works for Trump, so probably not. 'Cause he's
yeah.
racist.
Some sort of, yeah,
Right?
we're
Is
not
that
gonna
what we're
gender them, but yes, probably.
It's probably
It's probably
yeah.
a cis white old male.
Probably anybody. It's probably a transgender person
Yeah.
undercover and taking down Trump from
Let's
the inside.
it's
Yeah.
probably Jared Kushner. Like or DT. What's the other
Mike
Donald
Pence.
Trump? What's the
Mike
other
Pence
Donald
is
Trump
Trump.
son? The Eric Trump. Isn't
Oh,
that the
Barrett
one?
Trump.
No,
Barrett.
Eric. Isn't he the one that's like Donald Trump Jr.'s age but doesn't say anything?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's probably too busy doing Q stuff. But yeah,
He's too busy doing stuff.
yeah, he loves Facebook, so
Anyways, somebody in the White House or something is supposedly taking pictures. They think because they've taken some pictures that look like it was kind of in the White House.
true. And
Probably
yeah,
Trump himself.
yeah,
But
wouldn't be surprised. It's a good tactic. It's a good tactic.
but that's what I always thought. But anyways, yeah, if you believe or follow the Q, then you are a QAnon supporter. I assume. I think that was the question.
Yeah, let us know why you support Q in the comments below.
Yeah.
Text or email us. We want to know all the cool stuff, especially after Duncan Trussell got hacked by Q. We don't want in because we're not willing to like say any oaths or join any sort of cults, but we want to know more about it. Not saying you guys are in a cult. We just want to know more about it, so we can decide if it's Scientology or if it's Catholicism or if it's atheism.
A different kind of cult.
Yeah, exactly. Because it seems like to me like there's a lot of you have to believe in a certain religion or a certain type
Yeah.
of religious ideology. Which like, can I join Q if I'm Muslim?
Yeah.
I'm not Muslim, by
I
the
think it's
way.
fine.
Don't nobody try to like I could be Muslim. No, I mean, but I'm not trying to be mean to anybody who's Muslim or pick on any in particular gender. I mean religion. Don't cancel me or cancel me. I don't give a fuck. But can Jews be in Q? Or is
They're
Q
not
against them? I think Q's
Just say
against them.
Jewish people, Jason.
No, well Q calls them Jews.
I think now you're putting words in their
And
mouth.
I heard they
We're getting a little off track.
I heard they wear these red armbands.
And they dye their hair
But
blonde.
yeah, they
Wear
yeah.
blue eye contacts.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I've heard they've been running around New York stabbing people with curly hair. Or maybe that was just a schizophrenic guy claiming to be cute. I don't know. It's like how ISIS is always a terrorist. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe ISIS did it. They probably claim to do it. They claim to do this probably too.
They couldn't do anything.
Yeah, the Beirut explosion, ISIS. But yeah, that wasn't a conspiracy theory here. Photographs of Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressing the UN General Assembly in Netanyahu. Sorry, I don't know how to speak. I recognize the name now that you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 2018 have been.
Israel, you dumbass.
I can't say Hebrew names. I'm sorry. Unless
Yeah, I
he's
probably
like
said it
not.
wrong too.
Unless he's got different ancestry. Sorry, I'm racist or something. I don't know. In 2018, have been posted on social media amid claims that he's pointing at the site of Tuesday's Beirut explosion. Some social media users are using the images as proof that Israel had a hand in the blast. But yeah, also U.S. President Trump is waging a secret war against elite Satan worshipping pedophiles in government, business, and the media. So yeah, maybe that was really it. There was a bunch of pedophilia going on in the warehouse, and because Israel and U.S. have like intelligence ties, they're like, we're the only ones that get to do some honey trapping. Like Jeff Epstein, did you let other people know how to do this shit? And they had to kill him and fucking. Now they're blowing up the warehouse. Next, Ghislaine Maxwell was gonna be in that warehouse at the time, and like a fake Ghislaine Maxwell is gonna get put out. We'll see what happens next.
Yeah, they cloned her, and her real body was in that explosion. Most of the cloned people's bodies were in that explosion.
Yeah, they didn't even clone her. They just got like an extra. Like they got like a stunt double. Like they're just gonna get weird angles of her, and she's gonna age a lot from being in jail too. So that's gonna be used against her. Like she's gonna look a lot different. That's all I'm saying. Because the real her's dead from an explosion in Beirut.
So fact.
Israel's covering their tracks. Israel's covering their tracks. Epstein
found it on the ground.
Yeah, obviously.
Literally on the ground, I was there.
Yeah.
On the ground near the Blair House, I found the.
Todd was setting the target.
No.
Todd is a double agent, and he's letting you know Israel's plans. This could get him killed or exiled if he does ever decide to go back to Israel. But yeah, he was laying the sticker on the ground where the nuke would get dropped.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you don't put the big red X in tape, they don't know where to shoot it. They get all confused.
Yeah, exactly. Todd is intelligence, a double agent. When they killed Epstein, Todd took over. Why do you think he knows so much about Operation Midnight Climax and MK Ultra?
Inside information.
Information. Yeah. Don't kill me, please. But yeah, Trump's comments. So he's even getting in on the conspiracies behind this Beirut explosion. Rumors about a possible attack picked up steam after President Trump described the event as a terrible attack at a White House press conference. Research from the Institute for Strategic Dialogue has identified his comments being shared and edited by far-right groups on social media.
Yeah, if you watch it, he didn't like say it like that. That's just another thing where Trump just like doesn't know how to make a proper fucking sentence.
Yeah.
He wasn't saying it was a terrorist attack. He was just saying it was like a
terrible attack.
Terrible. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever he said, it was different.
Terrible attack. He just stuttered a little on it with his secret dementia.
Yeah.
I think Trump has secret dementia.
It's a secret.
No, it's a secret to him. Like he thinks it's a secret. Like he knows he has dementia, but he like thinks he can tell us he doesn't.
He thinks he's hiding.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, man. You should see my dad drive. Oof. Yeah, exactly. He's just like a step ahead of Joe Biden. He's just not saying cocaine test, and he seems more legitimate. It's like you taking a cocaine test, man. Come on. Oh yeah, but enough on politics. I'm sure you've heard enough of that in the news lately with everything that's changing with Kamala Harris. But yeah, let's quickly just go over some snopes. Was Beirut caused by a missile? I guess this video is proven to be false. Yeah, exactly.
Fake news.
Yeah.
Not real.
The video is not a screenshot from a genuine video of the explosion. The screenshot comes from manipulated video containing a digitally inserted missile. So kind of like how you can just like put a graphic over top of your story and hold it in there and place it. Like it's like that, but maybe a little better editing. Like you doing that is like us and our podcast production quality. Meanwhile, this missile in there is like Jamie Vernon as your like broadcast producer.
Yeah. Well put together.
Exactly. The sound is right, unlike our last pod. Apologies again. Especially more to Todd than anyone listening, because like you guys can just hear me yelling and skip to the next episode. You can skip the episode. Todd didn't get to get his points across though because he was so quiet. So yeah, you're probably gonna skip to the next episode anyways because it's boring just hearing me yell. You're like, I can go to the
kid here.
Yeah, exactly. I can go volunteer at a homeless shelter if I want to listen to someone rant for hours about nonsense.
I wish.
Yeah.
But anyways,
But yeah, there was comparisons to the Oklahoma City bombing, which was only 2 tons of ammonium nitrate.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, it was definitely false. We don't want to give Snopes too much heat because it could be a CIA front. We don't know.
yeah. It's all dumb. Any of this could quite possibly be just disinformation from whatever intelligence group. They it seems to be pretty easy to just like send a guy to go make stories somewhere.
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
exactly.
but if like we're gonna speculate, my guess would be either like Iran or Israel.
Yeah,
I doubt either of them had anything to do with it, but quite possibly could have. Like Iran, I know does extensive Secret Service work and is like I don't know if you've ever heard of like the Shia Crescent or something like that. They call it. It's like their business or their political model for taking over the Middle East, where they just kind of drew a crescent on the map,
yeah,
and like Iran, Syria, Lebanon, down to Palestine are all part of this group to attack Israel. So maybe this is a way for them to get more influence. Like the most telling sign, the only thing that really shows that someone else could have been involved is the fact that the whole government just up and resigned. That is super weird.
yeah. Definitely.
I
It's
mean, they definitely were just like didn't want to get caught because they were all smuggling money and shit. But
yeah. It's probably just like the same thing would happen with the U.S. government if they were
yeah,
like, oh, no more lobbying's allowed. Like they'd all quit.
yeah, yeah,
Like no one's allowed to get paid from a super PAC. Like they'd leave. Uh,
yeah. No one would be in government
yeah,
anymore.
exactly, exactly. So yeah,
That's still.
well, that's a lot on the Beirut explosion. Probably a good 2/3 of the pod. We're hitting on that hour mark now. So we did have a BBC News article as well that went kind of deep, went hard in the paint, but we'll leave that for you guys to read on your own time if you're still interested. We don't want to bore you to death and have you blow your brains out because you got to hear about this horrible explosion anymore.
Yeah,
And sorry for making that content so dry. It's just really hard to make jokes about such a devastating strike. And the images alone conjure up memories of like 9/11 in my head, which is probably
yeah.
Todd's probably too young to remember any of that, 5 years old, but it was nuts times, crazy
Yeah.
times.
Luckily, I missed that whole thing.
Yeah,
I
but
was playing with dinosaurs and stuff,
but yeah,
and
yeah, exactly. But yeah, speaking of 9/11, like that was potentially not a legitimate story that was being presented by the government and news media. May be a legitimate story. We don't know still, but we may never know about these explosions either.
yeah,
But we
yeah,
do know a lot about the story, and yeah, the BBC article does go deep if you want to learn more about the MVV Rhosus and the back and forth between its
yeah.
owners and the Ukraine and Georgia and government and
Yeah, the only
that
thing we didn't cover
nonsense.
was the Russian boat owner.
Yeah,
Fully.
but we didn't
I
even
kind
go
of yeah.
deep
There's a lot
on
more
them, eh?
information. Yeah,
Like it
yeah,
would be hard to even figure out really the truth behind these guys from Russia.
yeah, yeah. No, he's not really a famous guy or anything. See, this BBC article just kind of points out how this was like not even like
Yeah,
a strange thing.
he
Like this was
bought the
multiple
ship and it
circumstances.
turned out to have debts on it that
Yeah.
he wasn't aware of
Well, it's not even that.
also.
He
But
no,
then he
he
ran
like
it still
yeah.
without paying.
Apparently, this is just like what billionaires do, though. Like according to this article, like they take risky. Like if you're like a risky business owner, a bunch of money and wants to take a huge risk, you buy a cargo ship and you transport something super dangerous like ammonium nitrate, and you just know like it probably could go wrong, and you're not planning on paying anyone because you don't have enough money anyways.
Yeah.
You spend it
Yeah.
all just buying the ship, and then you just hope that you turn over enough profit.
Yeah, it's
And then
a gamble.
that's that seems to be just like a common situation, and then it just so happened that this guy got caught up with like a Lebanese corruption scandal where they were trying to smuggle this fucking ammonium nitrate into their pockets. You know, trying to the BBC article speculates that the reason it probably sat there so long is because they couldn't decide how to split the profits. and,
Yeah, so much ammonium nitrate. Yeah.
and these things are both like just common things where poor people are like stealing or like trying to smuggle money all the time, and like businessmen are like moving dangerous stuff across ships. It just so happened that this happened.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to learn more about that, I kind of did that quick, but yeah,
There's
read
a
the article. It's a really good article.
Yeah, exactly. If you like reading, this is probably the best article to go with because it does the full rundown, and BBC News is pretty good. It's not an American source, so you're not getting pulled in too hard by the need to pay the bills. BBC, I'm pretty sure, is just like CBC Canada, where it's paid for by the government. So it's like might be some propaganda, but it's not all con- propaganda. Like it's good journalism and some government propaganda, not just like a capitalist pays their way through. Yeah, not they don't care about advertisers, is what I'm saying. Like whereas New York Times, they need your subscription, they need advertisements. BBC, I haven't even seen an advertisement in this article. But
I don't think they have any.
and yeah, they've never asked me to pay a subscription, so definitely it's government funded.
This was like the best article on the situation.
Yeah. So
I felt.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, we didn't want to do it an injustice by just skimming over it. So we're gonna leave you guys to read it. But just a big fact from it: British Army bomb disposal expert says the Beirut blast was equivalent of 1 to 2 kilotons of TNT. By comparison, it is estimated that the Hiroshima bomb in August 1945 exploded with energy equivalent of 12 to 15 kilotons. So this is like 1/10 of a nuke for those conspiracy theorists trying to compare. Oh, but yeah, let's get into the motherfucking psychedelic news before we all go back to hitting the bongs. And again, don't forget to subscribe so we can hit the bongs together. Maybe we'll get a Twitch stream going. Maybe we'll get a pre-show, maybe a post-show. Maybe we'll get some more stuff going on. We don't know yet. Just if you like it though, we can get some more stuff going on. So let us know in the comments below what you do and don't like, and hit us on the subscribe so you can keep up with the next thing, the hottest thing in psychedelic news. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. This one's kind of hard to read. A lot of text here. But new psychedelic research nonprofit teams up with Johns Hopkins scientists for real-world study on the use of psilocybin mushrooms. So, in a new research study that will greatly expand the knowledge of real-world uses, the nonprofit organization Unlimited Sciences is collaborating with Johns Hopkins to conduct a survey of people from across the globe in hopes of becoming the largest registry of its kind. Unlimited Sciences, a Denver-based nonprofit, is funding the study, and Hopkins researchers will ask current users of psilocybin validated questions before, during, and after their use of the substance, which has shown promise in previous clinical studies and helped people suffering from depression and other behavioral health conditions. Researchers have long struggled to understand how the drug's effects change outside of laboratory settings, for example, in nature, concerts, and other popular settings, and what implications those have on most common uses. JHU has studied psilocybin for decades and brings academically sanctioned and internationally acclaimed rigor to the field of study. People around the world have used psilocybin and other psychedelics for hundreds of years in a widespread natural history experiment, said Heather Jackson, board president of Unlimited Sciences. Research suggests that these compounds produce remarkable experiences felt to be profoundly meaningful with enduring positive changes in attitudes, moves, and behaviors years into the future. By expanding this study to include far more examples of real-life usage and outcomes, we can continue to learn more and refine our research. A study of this type can be direct future-controlled clinical trials. Studies exist showing the benefits of psilocybin for depression, smoking cessation, and cancer-related distress in the lab, among other things, said Del Jolly, co-founder and director of Unlimited Sciences. But because our research is real-world, allowing participants to enroll for any reason and participate in any setting, we will learn unprecedented new details about how individuals are choosing to use this substance. Through our time listening to the community, we have heard anecdotes of people using psilocybin for depression, anxiety, PTSD, chronic pain, and other conditions. We hope to grow our understanding with a large sample set. So they're looking at surveying at least 1,000 people, and participants will be asked to describe details of both their state of mind and setting, physical situation, at up to 6 time period surrounding a planned psilocybin dose to isolate variables of experiences and how they relate to health and other outcomes. If you want to help fund more studies, cool shit like that, check out unlimitedsciences.org/donate. It's a nonprofit. It's cool to support them. If you send money our way, we're going to give it to a homeless person instead. See how they like psychedelics. I'm kidding. They can do whatever they want with it. They probably will choose some sort of other drug. Hopefully food. We're going to try to get them to get food with it. But whatever they want to do with it, it's free world, right?
Yeah.
And
money I'm giving them. I'm not going to dictate what to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's your money. You tell us what to do with it. Again, by dropping a comment, an email, or text when you hit the PayPal. So some other pretty interesting news about Todd's biggest enemies there. Israel steps closer to cannabis legalization. I'm just kidding. Todd's not racist. But I am suspicious of Israel and their tactics in business. Like,
yeah, I don't agree with their government at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I've agreed with some of their past governments, but like that has nothing to do with their country as a whole. I support their existence.
Yeah, exactly. I believe Israel should exist. I'm not going to go any further into the arguments beyond that.
Yeah.
Because I'll just get myself into trouble because the Mossad is something that is very weird. And a lot of Israel seems to be just existing because of the U.S., but I don't want to. People are going to hate me for saying that.
Yeah, man.
It's propped up by the U.S. for sure. But yeah, they deserve everything they've got, and none of the hate. Yeah. Except for in situations where other people have human rights issues.
Except for in situations where they're doing things that aren't right.
Yeah, where they're violating the human rights. That's kind of an issue on my level.
Let's get back to the article.
But yeah, where Israeli government's doing well, there's approval of 2 preliminary cannabis bills that would decriminalize the possession and use of small quantities of cannabis, as well as create a regulatory framework governing the sale of adult use and medical cannabis in the country. While discussions remain early stage, it could mirror that of Canada or other legal countries. Israel has a burgeoning medical cannabis industry already that has more than 50,000 authorized users, and the figure is growing rapidly. At the same time, the country has some of the highest per capita cannabis usage rates in the world. Nearly 1/3 of people between the ages of 18 and 65, creating an enormous market opportunity. I would think that there's probably those similar usage rates elsewhere. It's just people don't want to admit it in a survey.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, in addition to its legalization efforts, Israel has been a long leader in cannabis research and development. The country became the first country in the world to allow medical research and cultivation back in 2007, while THC and CBD cannabinoid structures were originally discovered at Hebrew University of Jerusalem. The Israel cabinet approved the export of medical cannabis back in 2019, and the government gave the final go-ahead earlier this year. The move could open the doors to export to the EU, which is located nearby and represents a massive and underserved market for medical cannabis and CBD products, which Canada is already trying to capitalize. But yeah, well, it seems like there's going to be some competition to the Canadian market coming soon if Israel goes ahead with as planned on this.
Well, there is the company I work for. We had contacts with Israel. They were already, I don't know,
finagling their way through.
Deals. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I feel like at this point you gotta work with Canada a little bit, just because it's like
where the experts
we
are.
legalized it first.
Yeah, we legalized it first. We had a serious medical program that was an important framework for getting things legalized. We had it nearly decriminalized for a long time with less than 30 grams.
And even though America had like a couple states legalize it, like the big companies were still coming to our big companies to figure out the best ways to do it.
Yeah, good point. And yeah, another big one with psychedelics. Let's get away from the companies there in the marketplace. How to embrace the effects of psychedelics without the drugs. Experts say psychedelic breath work can blow your socks off. So yeah, again, we talked about this before too with the JRE James Nestor breathe. I don't know if you guys watch Matt and Shane's Secret podcast, but Matt talks about he's all into that right now, trying to cure his own deviated septum just by breathing and taping his mouth shut at night and using peppermint oils. And I don't know if it's a bit or if he's dead serious, but he audiobook read the James Nestor breathe or is reading it. So some crazy stuff going on there. So yeah, I can only imagine what kind of psychedelic experience that is, waking up with your mouth taped shut because you can hardly breathe through your nose. But in an attempt to escape ever increasing stress of life in 2020, I laid down in the floor of my Northern California cabin on a recent Saturday afternoon, did something not uncommon in the corner of the world. I tried to enter a psychedelic state of consciousness. The catch is, I didn't take any drugs. Following a guided video, I did a practice known as psychedelic breathwork, a method of controlled breathing that's meant to stimulate a psychedelic experience and spark a greater awareness of one's emotional state. According to Field Trip Health, the company offering the sessions, I didn't know this was a PR piece, sorry guys. The practice coupled with a 50-minute integration session without a licensed therapist could help relieve the particular anxieties brought on by life in the times of COVID-19 and much more. Based in Ontario, Canada, Field Trip offers in-person ketamine-assisted psychotherapy for depression and PTSD order. But like most clinical psychedelic studies and treatments, and well, everything else in the world, the global shutdown has put their work on pause. Field Trip wanted to offer something virtual, legal, and easily accessible to help people cope. Enter psychedelic breathwork. So it's legal, it's probably not the most effective, but let's give this article a chance. Uh, Using breathing techniques to release stress is not a novel concept. These days, things like mindful breathing, deep breathing, and measured breathing are all purported as helpful ways to deal with anxiety and uncertainty brought on by the pandemic or any stressful situation. And I'm sure everyone's always been told to count backwards to 10 and stuff like that. Like that's a breathing exercise even. Back to the article. A growing number of studies show that breathing techniques can help combat anxiety, insomnia on both physiological and psychological levels. Psychedelic breathing is a bit different than those more well-known methods, though. Unlike, say, mindfulness, this practice is based on the idea that transcending consciousness can help facilitate deep emotional, psychological healing. When you take your analytical mind,
Like some bull.
yeah, could be, but it's kind of like abstract thinking, sort of. But when you take your analytical mind offline temporarily, the body is so innately wise. When we accidentally cut ourselves off, for example, we don't have to tell our bodies how to go in and heal, said Amber Amendola, Field Trip psychedelic breathing facilitator and integration therapist. So creating that space through the breath, you're really able to hear yourself and guide yourself in what you need. It may sound improbable that breathing alone could have this effect, but Field Trip says it isn't necessarily blowing smoke. So it is blowing smoke, but not necessarily. Reaching a psychedelic state through the breath control alone has been practiced in the Western world for decades. What Field Trip calls psychedelic breathing is a mild, slightly altered version of breathwork modality developed in the 70s known as holotropic breathwork. Holotropic breathwork may seem innocuous, but it will blow your socks off. Brainchild of husband and wife duo Stan Groff and Christina Groff, both MDs, holotropic breathwork is an intense breathing technique that can allegedly induce a psychedelic state as powerful, vivid, and potentially life-changing as any substance. I don't know if the person that wrote that has done any substances, but the Groffs were some of the original psychotherapists using LSD to treat various psychological disorders in the United States. While they and many others saw huge success with this method, LSD and similar hallucinogens were banned by the U.S. government in '68 in order for the CIA to better control the distribution. Making, yeah, and making it illegal to use them as treatment. Many psychotherapists gave up on psychedelic healing at that point, but the Groffs began searching for a legal alternative. What they found was through certain breathing techniques, they could reach a fully hallucinogenic state. and in this state, emotional and psychological breathing healing could occur. They named this holotropic breathwork after the Greek word holos, meaning whole, and trepid, meaning to move forward. In other words, moving towards wholeness. Or holy trepid. Holotropic breathwork uses intense circular breathing and drum-heavy up-tempo music to enter a trance-like state. So hypnotherapy sessions are usually done in a group atmosphere and can last up to 3 hours. That's longer than like DMT. They're like 6 times longer.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Not worth the trouble. The breathing technique is essentially a controlled form of hyperventilating, a sharp, deep inhale through the mouth, followed immediately by a sharp exhale with no pause between breaths. Do this long enough and eventually practitioners say you tap into parts of the psyche and subconscious, that aren't usually accessible in day-to-day life and are usually thought to be accessible only through the use of psychedelic substances. So I think if you try to do anything ridiculous like that, I was going to use another R word, but I'm trying to get better at that. Yeah. For the woke out there. But yeah, if you use anything ridiculous like that, you're going to pass out. And you're like, it's like just trying to stay awake while you're choking yourself and jacking off. Like, But
I mean, for all of us out there who knows what that's like, you're gonna choke and pass out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're gonna be embarrassed when your parents find you in your closet hanging from the coat hanger.
Yeah, exactly.
With your hand around.
Well, you might not be embarrassed when you're dead. You might not be embarrassed when you're dead. But yeah, if you've survived the incident, we've been there. We've been there.
Both of us.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you need someone to watch you, so you don't like. That's the good thing about sharing a room as brothers.
Safety first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you gotta at least be respectful of your roommates and ask before you do stuff like that. I know a lot of roommates don't think they have to ask in their own personal space, but for that graphic of an activity, if you want someone to come in and check on you, it's wise to ask. You should also just let them know you're doing it, because if they come across your dead body, that's more traumatic than like them coming across than you when they come across your live body. Yeah, but yeah, back to the article on hyperventilating. Though it isn't known for sure.
I feel like, do you think you're like slowly killing brain cells when you do that? If you're just like, I feel like you're giving yourself like a shortness of breath.
100%. This article is saying entering the trance-like state is due to the change in balance between carbon dioxide and oxygen in the brain caused by hyperventilating, which is also why some people believe it could be dangerous. Hyperventilating can cause dizziness, fainting, spasms, and even seizures.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
However, this is usually caused by involuntary hyperventilation, which happens in response to fear or stress. With holotropic breathwork, the breathing is under control and can be stopped at any time. I can quit at any time, Todd. My breathing's not dangerous. It's under control and I can quit at any time. I'm fine. Let me breathe.
It's okay when you're in the circle.
Let me breathe, Mom.
You start hyperventilating out with your friends at the middle of a party. It's not funny anymore.
Yeah, exactly. When you're hyperventilating on your all alone in a bathroom before work, then you need some serious fucking help. That is not under control and it can't be stopped at any time. Woo! I've been to breath rehab though. It's cool. It's cool. BA as they call it. Breath Anonymous. They're really particular about the volume of your breathing at those meetings. So the Zoom the COVID environment has definitely helped us out. Yeah. The only problem is they don't. Yeah, and they don't want you to mute your meeting, but also like you kind of can lean away from the mic if you're breathing really heavy. But then it's kind of like you really could use the help, so maybe you shouldn't be leaning so far away from your mic. It's a bit problematic, but it's also helpful. Yeah. And we also lost a lot of people. They're probably just in their room somewhere breathing.
Breathing too hard.
Yeah, exactly. Their kids are probably like going hungry. They probably lost their job. They got laid off and got invited back to work, but haven't bothered because
Yeah.
they're just in a room somewhere breathing. So in a bathroom, they got up for the day and they haven't left that fucking bathroom. Just hyperventilating on purpose. But enough.
Jokes aside,
Yeah, addiction's a serious issue.
aside,
Yeah.
if you're out there and you're having trouble with your hyperventilating problems, you can call us at any time at the therapdrugspod.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
email us,
Two,
and we will help you with your problem.
202-594-9466. Breathing
Numbers
Anonymous.
right at the top of the
Yeah,
screen,
exactly.
flashing,
Yeah,
flashing numbers.
exactly. We'll get that in the replay, or the clips, both, so that all you Breather Anonymous, we don't mind adding you to the Zoom chat. Not this in particular Zoom chat, like the BA Zoom chat, the regular meeting on a different day.
Hopefully
Or we can
breathing in Bong Tokes and not just too much oxygen.
Yeah, exactly. We want to change it. We don't want you getting any of that nasty carbon dioxide or that nasty oxygen. You need that CO, carbon monoxide.
Wait.
Join the cult.
Join the cult.
Yeah.
Carbon monoxide.
Yeah, exactly. We just
cups of lemonade.
Yeah. But yeah, so this article goes deeper on this person in their in particular experience. It talks a bit more about psychedelics and therapy there. So we'll skip the medical terms on hyperventilating and the psychedelic stuff because that has nothing to do with this. This has nothing to do with psychedelics other than the fact Field Trip Health's offering it. And they stole the name psychedelic in replace of the name holotropic breathworks. So, alone on my floor in California, I spent 30 minutes breathing in a controlled 3-peat pattern. One sharp breath into my belly, one sharp breath into my lungs, and a sigh like exhale to release. Within minutes, my body began to tingle, like a wave of static moving through me, which became so strong I could barely control my hands or face. Focused on keeping this pattern of breath, I found myself fully in the moment. The outside world dropped away. I felt present with myself in a way that is hard to come by. It was restorative. I'll be honest though, it didn't really reach what is typically considered a hallucinatory state. But I did walk away with new insights into myself. In my integration session with Amendola, I began to understand how the emotions and thoughts that arose while I was breathing acted as signposts, pointing me toward actions I could take in my daily life to relieve stress. And while that outcome could probably be achieved through modalities such as meditation or mindful breathing, having access to one more method during this time of uncertainty and confusion felt like a breath of fresh air. Update.
Next month, they're going to have you lie down on your back, and then after about an hour, stand up really fast.
Yeah. So ridiculous, so stupid. Clearly, meditation's better idea. Because it sounds like that's all this is, a different type of meditation that makes you hyperventilate, and that's not good.
Yeah, it just makes you do stupid things.
I've seen the studies. If you don't get the proper amount of oxygen to your brain, you may or may not be killing yourself slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, we advise strongly not to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Look into holotropic breathing if you want, but we recommend mindful meditation or other breathing methods.
Real meditation, if you're not into the psychedelics, which I totally understand, they're not for everybody, and some people it might not even be safe for you to take.
Yeah, if you're schizophrenic, holotropic breathing's probably not a good idea either, though.
Yeah, still stick with just the regular meditation.
Yes,
When
exactly.
you get good enough at it, some people even say you can reach psychedelic level.
Yeah, exactly. Just like us.
Yeah, just like us.
If you
we are masters.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope.
Levitate. I don't know what the hell it is, but we smoke enough weed, we're friggin' tripping.
I smoke so much weed that I fly all the way to the fucking clouds, man.
Yeah.
You know how many clouds up? 9 clouds.
Here's my breath work. And then I trip out for like about 15 to 90 minutes, depending how good the weed is. Maybe I need a couple tokes to make it last the 90 minutes, but
Yeah. And then I'm ready for my salvia.
yeah, exactly. And and then after the DMT, I do some weed. So yeah, the best way to have a psychedelic breath is put some DMT in the pipe before you breathe in. Also light that DMT before you breathe in. Or salvia. Todd's got a legal option there. And yeah, we're going long. We're going past the hour and a half. But yeah, we don't really care. Uh, we're gonna let you guys know some cool news from Vancouver is awesome. So there's a petition to exactly. There's a petition to legalize natural psychedelic drugs in Canada. It's been signed 13,000 times. So, in the midst of an overdose crisis accompanied by the causes of trauma, anxiety, and depression, a wider range of treatment modalities, including those informed by ancient and indigenous knowledge, are urgently needed. And there's a beautiful shot of some mushrooms in a wood bowl on a wood table with weed on one side and mushrooms on the other. So, a petition going before the House of Commons has gained 13,000 signatures. After it was posted on April 18th, Trevor Miller, chair of the Board of MAPS, says the petition gained a whopping 500 signatures in 12 hours. So far, Ontario has the lion's share of signatures, 4,750 by BC. Oh, with 4,750, BC follows closely with 3,700. Alberta comes third with 1,900. And Paul Manley of the Nanaimo Ladysmith Green Party is sponsoring the petition. Will close for signatures on August 14th. Coming up Friday, guys, so get your signatures in if you can. It's only about legalizing natural substances right now. Things will grow from that ground. So no LSD, but we're trying to get mushrooms at least done and started. For example, he mentions magic mushroom, ayahuasca, peyote, San Pedro, and more. The petition notes the use of sacramental medicinal plants comprising of plants and fungi with healing and therapeutic properties dates to prehistory, and such practices are culturally and socially significant to multitudes of diverse populations globally. So yeah, very, very interesting thing there. Miller really encourages people to research this issue and sign the petition before the date is up. After that, become a member of the Canadian Psychedelic Association to show support. So you don't have to go that far. We actually recommend just watching all of our previous pods and donating to paypal.me/rapdrugspod. Don't bother with the CPA. We'll take care of them for you. Just you can find that petition. For some reason, it's not. Yeah, sign the petition. For some reason, the article doesn't have a link to it. So we'll. Oh no, I do see it here. I do see it here. Petitions.rcommons.ca. So there's a link right in the article. That's in our show notes. You can go sign that petition right away. Other than signing the petition, anything else you you want to speak on? Anything cool that happened since Sunday, Todd?
Since Sunday? No.
No trippy shit.
No.
Just some Illuminati
Not that I
invites.
know of.
The Illuminati invites and the cash flip scams have been picking up heavily.
Guy trying to get me to pay for a blue check mark on our Instagram.
Yeah, yeah.
That guy too.
You can get those for free if you just verify yourself.
I know. I'm trying to tell him he's a bad scammer.
Yeah, we're trying to help these scammers out, but sometimes they're too thick.
I'm okay with you trying to earn a living.
Yeah.
Just like be creative.
Yeah. And we've got a few sugar babies now, so that's why we need you to send some money to the pod. We accidentally, I don't know what happened. Now we're sending them hundreds of dollars a month. I'm kidding. We got tricked. Their messages were so good, we got tricked.
We totally thought they were gonna pay us if I just gave them money.
Yeah, I thought if I sent them 1,000 in Bitcoin, they were gonna send me 2,000 back. Now they're telling me I have to ask 2 other people for 1,000 in Bitcoin to get my 2,000. What?
Bullshit.
What did I just get myself into?
Did I just sign up for a fucking
Yeah.
Ponzi scheme?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm thinking of 2 people that could help me out, and probably know 2 people who could get them get them a few
Yeah.
thousand. So we're good. We're good. We're good.
Mom,
We'll keep.
dad.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We're not trust fund
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But you could convince them to get in on it. Unlike trust fund kids. But yeah, we're not trust fund kids. So again, if you got any extra money, send it to the paypal.me/rapdrugspod, and we'll split it 3 ways. Me and Todd will probably go into making the pod better, and a third of them, any proceeds, will go to getting more money out there to the homeless people, instead of me just tossing my half-used lighters at them on the way to the store, because I don't carry change anymore. So I try to give them something relevant, like you can light your pipe with this, or your spoon, or your cigarettes, or weed, or whatever you're into. Hopefully none of those things, but we know people don't end up on the streets because they agree with social norms and laws.
Yeah, which I totally understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta
Sometimes
support their decision.
sometimes you end up on tough times, and that that YMCA membership expires, and you don't have an address to update it to, and like your friends who were letting you stay on their couch weren't. You're kind of uncomfortable asking them to use your shower, and now you kind of smell too much to even like get into their house anymore, and they're asking you weird questions, treating you kind of funny, and you haven't slept
Next
for a
thing you
few
know,
days
you're
because of all
being
the
treated
meth,
different.
but
Yeah.
but yeah, anybody who is homeless, I encourage you to reach out for support. Reach out to the pod even. We'll see what we can do, if we can
Yeah.
help out. If
If
there
you
is any way.
donate to the pod and you're homeless, we will hopefully be able to take that money and help you.
Yeah, we'll give it back to you double. But yeah, seriously, don't donate if you're homeless. Uh,
Yeah.
but text or
And
call us or comment below, and we'll find a way to support you.
yeah.
And yeah, if you want to support the pod in other ways, teespring.com/stores/rapdrugs. The link below is too. Maybe I messed that one up. We got a couple shirts out now. We're rolling out with some cooler shit and other accessories.
Got some upcoming cartel stuff coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Upcoming
For all
gang
you
war
cholos.
stuff. Like
War on
we got a
drug
lot of
stuff.
stuff coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lots of joke stuff.
Pictures of my face on Richard Nixon. It's gonna be there.
Yeah.
More pictures of me hanging out with Richard Nixon. You're gonna have that too.
Yeah, exactly. If you've got any custom jobbies of your own you want to send in, and split the profits, we got you, fam. Just send it to the email, and we'll decide whether it's worthy. But any submissions for artwork, we'd love. If you want us to buy your artwork, like good luck. We want you to pay for our merch and support the pod. So do that first, and we'll think about buying your shitty artwork. If you send us some artwork for free, we don't care if it fucking sucks. We'll probably use it because we respect the fandom.
I'll put it up.
Yeah, we respect the fandom and the hustle. You gotta do shit for free sometimes, like we're doing for free for you guys, putting out this glorious content.
Yeah, just solid gold, fucking high quality nighttime show level. Fucking, we're better than Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, exactly. Have you seen Conan O'Brien and Colbert Report? Yeah, they're both gay compared to us, or cis, whatever you're not into. They're that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because gay is cool. Like if you don't realize gay is cool, like you are slackjaw Southern yokel.
You're a slackjaw.
Like
Probably a trust fund kid.
yeah, exactly.
Don't like immigrants.
You're probably a
Not
trust.
because they suck, just because they're immigrants.
Yeah, you're either a trust fund kid or you'd lie on a gun application. And not realize it's gonna get checked. You'd lie on a background check. That's what I'm saying, because you're an idiot. But yeah,
You probably put posts up like, I shouldn't have. All you people out there tell me that I should wear a mask. Should have been worried about when you were raiding the stores of baby diapers and water. But you were also out there last month raiding the stores for water.
yeah, you got some new Nikes that you raided the store for. Yeah, you probably follow Q and don't watch the Rap Drugs pod, so we know you're mentally challenged.
You were probably trashing malls with Jake Paul.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. If not, you're probably watching Jake Paul videos instead of the Rap Drugs
Probably
Pod.
shotgun Paul Bays like a bunch of pussies.
Yeah, exactly. Shotgun White Claws.
White claws.
Michelob Ultras. You're watching your calories. You're watching your calories. Yeah. Diet Cokes. You're also driving. But yeah, if you're again, shout out to the IG followers. We're up to 3,500 there. Uh, get us on whatever podcast player you like. If you're not catching up with the live streams or you prefer the audio only, if the sound's still messed up, which it might be, we got a Zoom recording. We're gonna use that for the podcast, and we're gonna upload some clips to YouTube later. The YouTube channel's mainly for clips, so we really appreciate you guys subscribing. No need to put on the bell if you don't want all the notifications, but if you do, it'll be awesome. Otherwise, you know what time you can catch us. Wednesdays at 7 in the morning now. We're going to be doing the early 4:20 Pacific time podcast, 7:20 Eastern time, and then Wednesday evenings at 4:20 Pacific.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's everything.
Yeah, thanks for watching. I'd be surprised if you're still here. But,
Yeah.
You're the best fans ever if you are. Love you all.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Exactly. Yeah, thanks for being a cholo and part of the Rap Drugs Pod community, homies. Join the cartel at rapdrugs.com.
Peace out, you rap drug heads.
Yeah, already ended the meeting. Now let's get out of this stream here.